When we look at the four postulates of creation and we compare them with the four postulates of evolution, only the postulates of creation have been observed. Evolution is based on four major ideas. None of them have ever been observed.
This really requires us to enter into a deeper understanding of why Christianity, and in particular Catholicism, not only is supportive of science, it wants us to live life with conscience, a consciousness. Welcome to the Father Leo Show, where I'm dishing out faith, culture, and commentary. And in this brevisode, we are going to talk a little bit about a Catholic understanding of evolution, because oftentimes Christians are seen as people who are not very educated in the ways of science. We are anti-science if we don't care about wearing a mask in our car alone. You see, we are really treated as second-class citizens in many ways, made to feel like somehow we are uneducated, when in fact some of the most educated people are Christians, and in particular Catholics. And before we jump into how evolution as science in the modern woke liberal world understands it today is completely debunked by this incredibly intelligent Christian law professor. But before we jump into it, please make sure you like, subscribe, share, and comment, because this certainly helps us in our algorithms, because there are algorithms that want to suppress things that are truly of God, especially on the internet. And so your commenting, your sharing, your liking, and subscribing certainly helps, as also supporting us on Patreon. There are many ways that you can join our Patreon community. Just go to patreon.com/The Father Leo Show. You'll be able to get all of our commentaries, but if you support us, you also get some special perks. And so let's just jump right into it with my discussion, my commentary, a faithful one about evolution. I love it whenever I hear just logic explained so beautifully. And in this little clip, Dr. Major G. Coleman, a law professor at North Carolina Central University, he is a professor at the School of Law, explains how the evolution principles are completely debunked in such beautiful, logical, clear, and even what I would call faithfully and spiritually and inspiring ways. Check this out.
Couldn't the story have been symbolic, metaphor for other kinds of events that took place? How about creation? Couldn't that have been symbolic or metaphorical in the language that's there?
Well, it is possible, but when we look at the four postulates of creation and we compare them with the four postulates of evolution, only the postulates of creation have been observed. Evolution is based on four major ideas. None of them have ever been observed. Number one, that life comes from non-life. We have not one single example of life coming from non-life. Number two, that all the life forms that we have today came from single-cell life forms. Many people do not know that while we do have single-cell life forms that we call bacteria, we have no two-celled life forms. We don't have three-cell life forms. We don't have four-cell life forms. We don't even have five-cell life forms. That is, we go from single-cell bacteria to complex life forms. So there's no evidence that all life comes from single-cell life forms. The third postulate of evolution is that time and chance drive evolution forward, of course, and time works against evolution. The chance of one simple 100-unit protein coming together by accident this is a very big number. Time and chance make evolution absolutely impossible. The fourth postulate that evolution is based on is that what we see today, minor genetic variation in species, is evidence of macroevolution. So because cats are different colors, dogs are different sizes, that means that fish turned into cows. And of course, we know that that's not true, because Mendel proved that all the genes that exist today, you can shuffle them around, but there are no new genes that were created. Let's think about the four major postulates of creation. Number one, where there's a design, there must be a designer. We see codes in DNA. Codes are evidence of intelligence, because you have to translate from one language to another. We have not a single example of that happening by accident. Number two, that the Earth, the solar system, the universe, and the galaxy are young. measured in thousands of years, not millions or billions of years. Many times people ask me, they say, well, Major, you believe in a young earth, a 6,000-year earth. Can you show me that that's true without using the Bible? And I say, absolutely. What's the oldest living thing on the planet? The oldest living thing on the planet? Trees. How old are the oldest trees? 4,500 years. That takes us back almost exactly to the year of the flood, okay, in 2,500 BC.
Remarkable.
Number two, I'm saying, look at the sky. We call solar nebulae. A solar nebula is what we see from a supernova when a star explodes. It leaves a gas cloud. Because of our radio telescopes that we have now today, we can look deep into space and we can actually count the number of solar nebulae that are there. And how many are there? A supernova takes place about once every 26 years. How many solar nebulae do we have? 6,000 years worth. That's impossible in a universe that is billions and billions of years old. And we have other evidences such as alpha decay that we do in our program that most people don't understand that also shows that the earth is 6,000 years old. So that's the second postulate that proves that the biblical story of creation is true. Life that we see today are the basic kinds of animals and plant life that were originally created. So we can test that. You can breed dogs, you can breed cats, but you can't breed cats with dogs. So there are limits to how far we can go. And lastly, that is, Earth experienced a worldwide flood in approximately 2500 BC, 1656 years after the world was created. The world is filled with limestone. Limestone is sedimentary rock. It precipitates out of water. The entire earth was filled with water. Every mountain chain in the world, including Everest, has sea life on top of that mountain. The mountains rose out of the water, so we know that there was a worldwide flood.
I love that. I mean, when you talk about the four postulates that evolution requires in order to prove that the creation accounts aren't true, none of them are observed. And so this really requires us to enter into a deeper understanding of why Christianity, and in particular Catholicism, not only is supportive of science, it wants us to live life with conscience, a consciousness, a conscience. A conscience, however, has to be formed. And in order to be formed, it needs to be educated. But these days, education is more of like a form of indoctrination, where we're all forced to believe that the creation accounts are just silly, mythical, humorous details that only dumb people like Christians believe. But in reality, it's the Catholics, it's the Christians who take their faith seriously, take the formation of their consciences seriously. They come up with smart people like this who can explain so much in beautiful ways that the premises of evolution as we understand it, none of it has been observed. Why do we continue to teach evolution the way it is taught now? Now, as a Catholic, what are we to make of this? Well, we do believe of evolution within species. And we do know that there are going to be anomalies to people's genetic codes. And so you can see changes. And, like how does sometimes a person who grew up from like a black family or an Asian family have blue eyes? Well, I mean, that's just an anomaly. But you're not going to have an Asian family produce a goat. No, it's always going to be a human child. And so these ideas of evolution somehow from a single life form coming out of nothing is somehow going to create a human by chance, by random chance. This is the real sadness of it all. But this is truly part of a plan of an evil nature to replace our conscience with just science without a conscience. And what is that conscience, or with a science? Who is that con? Who are we with? Well, we're talking about God, who is the ultimate author of all wisdom, of all science. God is the author of all created beings. and it's something that we have to always take into account. Do you know that the Catholic Church has a Pontifical Academy of Science? That we actually have doctors and scientists who study things, whether it be miracles attributed to saints or to just the galaxy, astronomy, biologists, moral theologians, sociologists. We have all of that, but we always approach science with a sense of humility, that there is something greater than we can ever imagine. It's fascinating that as we are able to go deeper into the ocean, the scientists are all freaking out that they're discovering life form which they never thought could exist. Go figure. What I think we need to do if we're trying to be good Catholics is to go deeper into our faith with God, to go deeper into every field of study with God. I mean, to a degree, that's what I'm trying to do with food in the culinary world. I'm trying to enter more deeply into food, but with God. And we see how a piece of bread, a glass of wine with God will blow scientists' minds whenever they study the Eucharistic miracles. So my objective in this episode, especially since the whole Father Leo show, is about providing formation, trying to give you insights and things that I am learning, but trying to interpret it and extrapolate it and offer it to you with a Catholic perspective, is simply this: do science with science, conscience, a properly formed conscience. And who is that person that you're with? It's obviously God. The deeper your relationship with God, honestly, the smarter, or rather, the wiser you become, like this man. Very impressive. Listen, learn more about this gentleman. His name, again, is Dr. Major G. Coleman. Pretty fantastic. I really appreciate this show, and this is a show that comes from, can't exactly tell you what the name of this show is, but Anil Kanda is the host of this show. So listen, thank you for watching all of this. I certainly hope that this gives you something to think about. Make sure you let family and friends know about the Father Leo show. Encourage them to click subscribe, share, as well as comment, and also consider supporting us on our Patreon community. Just go to patreon.com/The Father Leo Show. And between now and the next time we dish out faith, culture, and commentary, God bless you, and stay hungry for God.